Melvo lit that shit and bang.
Welcome back, everybody, to Crows of Judgment. And Turkey Tom dropped a new video going over the leaks from his document. Now, I think this was probably put together at least a couple days ago. And full disclosure, Turkey Tom did tag me on Twitter in regards to my original video that I uploaded just a couple days ago. Now, I was told to respond to this. I was told, like, can you comment on this? Can you watch this and everything? I did watch it. And to be clear, I think Turkey Tom actually makes good points. I still disagree, okay? And in terms of proving guilt. So there's a lot of people get upset when I say Pyrocynical is innocent. He is innocent until you prove him guilty. Now, if the claim here is he did engage with a 16-year-old, that makes him guilty. Again, I've already argued the age of consent thing. Turkey Tom actually had a response to that, and I do want to actually go into his response. But this is one of the parts from the video I want to comment on and then go into that.
That Ivory was older, then how could he be at fault? The most common misconception about this actually comes from Pyrocynical himself. He never once disclosed the fact that he was 15 at the time these exchanges commenced. There are multiple things that discount this claim from Pyrocynical, both from the DMs between Ivory and Pyrocynical, and in the DMs between Ivory and Niall's girlfriend, Ida. Here, we see Ivory not only say that he is a minor, but also a message of him clearly sending.
The thing is, Pyrocynical did say that he never knew that he was 15, and that it was never disclosed to him. Yeah, I actually see it right here, him disclosing the age of 16. Now, some people tried to argue that the RPs did not, that the RPs stopped at this point. I fully believe that they continued because I think Pyrocynical actually chose his words kind of carefully in that document. I think he was fully aware that Ivory was 16. I don't think he cared because age of consent. Now, over to what Zapti said over here. He gave me this link to UK law in regards to it because he argued that I was arguing a legal standard, and I absolutely was. But he highlighted this portion, right? B does not reasonably believe he is 16 or over. Even if, and I personally disagree here, probably did not know the age, he had no reason to assume that Ivory was over the age of 16, making him legally liable. Yeah, but it says right here, reasonably believe he is 16 or over. 16 being the key thing there. I again, in terms of a legal standard, that would actually be it. So I wasn't entirely sure about this. Now, there has been an update to this law from what I understand that basically states that if you're in a position of authority over somebody, in terms of like a teacher or psychiatrist, that doesn't count. But in terms of their relationship at 16, it is actually perfectly okay in terms of a legal standard. Now, would he have any reason to assume Ivory is younger than 16? I don't think so. And one thing Turkey Tom has brought up multiple times, and other people have as well, is that Ida was aware. Now, he turned 16 the following month. I'm not saying that that's an excuse. What I am saying is I don't think Ivory told him that he was 15, and I don't think Ida did either. Now, the reason why is because Ida did not seem to care at any point what Ivory's age was, and instead argued that, he just wouldn't want to be in a bisexual relationship or something of that nature. I don't see why you would think that someone who does not care that a 15-year-old is having a sexually charged conversation with one of her friends would care to inform that friend. I think Ida's morals, at least at this point, are pretty fucking suspect and shady. So there is that. Now, in terms of the morality of the situation, because Turkey Tom says that's what he's arguing there, yeah, I think that's subjective. In terms of what the legal standard is, I think it's pretty clear. Pyrocynical did not do anything illegal. In terms of a moral standard, that morality is subjective, right? I personally don't see an issue with the 4-year age gap. I do have an issue morally with 16 being the age of consent. I think it should be 18 across the board. And actually found out something very interesting about our own laws over here. If age of consent in a state is 16, you can have sex with that minor. And I will say it just like that. But federal law means that you cannot share pornographic images with that minor until they're 18 or older. That's just weird to me. It's fucking bizarre to me. I kind of feel like there should be a set standard, but there really isn't. But yeah, I feel like that's a weak argument because he's not like it's 16 or over here, not age of 16. He has to be over the age of 16. Anyways, let's move on to the next point in the video.
On Twitter, claiming it to be evidence that Ivory is merely a clout chaser. The song is obviously done in jest, and anyone should be able to see that. But most people are under the impression that this is a recent video. However, if you simply look at the clip, the bottom right-hand corner clearly shows that the recording is from 2016. The person who leaked this video initially, Crass, is someone who has been constantly deriding Ivory on Twitter and calling him a clout chaser with no proof other than this video.
Yeah, okay. I don't know anything about this Crass individual. I'm going to take Turkey Tom at his word here. But what I will say is, yeah, I think the song is always going to be kind of suspect, right? I do get that the timing does not line up, but in terms of no proof, look, there is a SoundCloud that Ivory is very proud of. He's promoted it several times. Throughout his accusations against Pyrocynical, he actually had it as his pinned tweet because he had just dropped a song on it. So, yeah, I mean, the timing is very suspect that he came out with the allegations as soon as he dropped this content, and that's what he was promoting throughout these allegations. I think the argument of clout chasing is very valid here. And there's going to be something else that comes up that I think validates that argument pretty well. But Turkey Tom is correct to say that just because he may be a clout chaser doesn't mean his claims are incorrect. It does mean that you need to bring that up, though, bring up the relevancy, and let people make the decision for themselves.
It seems a little fishy to me. Crash himself said that they met in the Solid Shive server as well, showing that there was no...
Okay, so this was not an 18 and up server, but there were NSFW channels, so if he met him in one of those channels, I would say that he would probably assume that Ivory was older. But I mean, that's just a nitpicky thing there. It's just, why wouldn't he assume that the person he's chatting with at that point is of legal age if they're in an NSFW chat, or if they're in an NSFW channel? Doesn't mean anything though, right? But yeah, I mean, there's no proof of age either here, so I don't know. I personally don't think that this means anything. If anything, I mean, it might lend credibility to the fact that Pyrocynical did think Ivory was an adult at the time.
Him here clearly asking how to run a script on Discord to delete his messages en masse. Honestly, it just doesn't look like the activity of someone who is completely innocent, or someone who has nothing to hide.
Okay, I have an issue with that, right? Because, and it's going to come up later in the video, the RP in general that Pyrocynical is having, whether it's with Ivory or with a 30-year-old dude, right? It's disgusting. It's nasty. It's cringeworthy, and it's something that anyone could make content on and make fun of him for. So the fact that he wants to clear out his DMs of it, I mean, it could just be the RP itself, not so much the idea that he's in belief that he is talking to someone who's not of legal age. Just to be clear, right?
Additionally, while digging through the DMs, we were able to find some messages where Ivory and Pyro were talking about meeting up in real life, and Ivory clearly talks about how he would have to get a fake ID in order to travel overseas and see.
Now, over here, he brings this up. So this is in May. At this point, Ivory is 16 years old. That is legal age of consent. It's legal age of consent where Ivory lives. I mean, again, this is a question of morality. Personally, 4-year age gap to me is but I'm not too sure. I think at this point, Pyrocynical is actually 19 and is about to turn 20. So 3 to 4 year age gap, if that makes it any better. I personally think that it is what it is. If Pyrocynical was older, then I'd have more of an issue with this. But no, I mean, I think the issue is that in terms of a legal standard, again, he's obeying the law. It's a 4-year age gap. I've been told that, that is a massive difference mentally. Maybe it's just the fact that I'm older, but no, it really isn't. I mean, I'm sorry, but like, for instance, Turkey Tom's been doing YouTube since I want to say he was 17 years old. I mean, that's a minor as far as I'm concerned. And I would say that back then he was fairly mature for his age, more mature than I've seen other people. If you want a good example of that, look up a man called Shane Holmberg. Or look up any of these assholes who are blue check marks on Twitter who behave like fucking children all the time. Again, 4 year age gap to me in terms of legal age of consent. I've got to say, I don't feel the same moral outrage that Turkey Tom and others do.
A real response from Pyro, besides the one he made before that's been shown to have a lot of problems.
Another argument Pyrocynical made lies in the idea that Ivory was messaging other people of a similar age around the same time. After Ivory alleged that I groomed him, this individual then reached out to him to apologize for any hurt he may have inadvertently caused him, to which Ivory responded, "No, you're fine, I don't care." Why does he not care in this instance? Why does he remain unaffected by a similar interaction with others, yet feel the need to single me out and character assassinate only me on social media? Ivory actually responded to this on Twitter, clearly saying why he left a very short response initially. But even not acknowledging Ivory's response, let's dissect this point a little more. Why wouldn't Ivory be upset at this guy if he was so angry at Pyrocynical? It becomes...
Okay, this is where I talk about the argument of clout chasing. This is the full statement from Ivory, which I paused the video so people can actually see the statement itself. But yeah, I completely disagree. I absolutely 100% disagree with this point. If the argument is that Ivory was a minor, right, and that's where you take issue with it, you should absolutely be exposing these other individuals. Again, I brought up the case of Chris Thurman, who was a voice actor for Funimation. This dude had barely any presence on social media. I think his Twitter account had about 300 followers at the time that this news broke. But he was contacting girls via Discord, accidentally sending dick pics to them. In one case, he found out it was a minor and continued to talk about if she liked his dick or not, right? Just because someone doesn't have a massive platform and a ton of influence, that doesn't mean anything, right? In fact, a lot of pedophiles try specifically to fly under the radar, right? So this is not an argument. It really isn't. And again, and this is to Turkey Tom and to Ivory, if you really do feel what Pyrocynical did was immoral, potentially illegal, and could be damaging to other children, you should absolutely be exposing these other adults that you did this with. Specifically because, Turkey Tom has stated on multiple occasions that he was very public about his age being 15. I don't know if people know this, but Ivory was doing these role plays before he met Pyrocynical, right? He was doing it with other people when he was clearly a 15-year-old. Well, that's not age of consent anywhere, to my understanding. So, to me, if that's your actual stance, you cannot say, well, it's because he has influence and a platform. Honestly, it really comes across as clout chasing. And I've been very bullheaded on this point, to a degree that I'm sure a lot of people get very offended by, where I say this is proof that Turkey Tom and these other content creators are clout chasing. It feels that way. It absolutely feels that way, because if your actual stance is that Pyrocynical is doing something that is dangerous, anyone could be doing the exact same thing. It's just you don't want us to shine a spotlight on it. I'm in disagreement in terms of the Pyrocynical situation, but yeah, especially when Ivory was 14 to 15 doing this stuff, and if he was that public about his age, then you should absolutely be looking to expose these other individuals 120%.
And in my original video, it is extremely unlikely that Pyrocynical did not know Ivory's age, and it is very likely that he lied about it after the fact. I personally went into the situation under the impression that Ivory had lied. However, once
See, again, and this was in his own video here, a Pyrocynical statement says he was never aware that Ivory was 15 and that was never disclosed to him. He never says that I was never aware he was 16. That is important context there. It's not a lie. It is actually true. I fully believe Pyrocynical knew he was 16, but that was age of consent, right? Now, if you want to argue the morals behind it, that's perfectly fine. I think that is a relevant conversation to have. But Turkey Tom goes on to say something in the video, and honestly, I think you should watch the entire thing in full. I will link it in the description. I know a lot of people that have subbed to the channel recently sub because they feel like I'm hardcore defending Pyrocynical here. I'm tepidly defending him. I don't think he's done anything illegal. I think the morality is subjective. It is something that makes me very uncomfortable. 100%. 100%. I think Pyrocynical is a creep. I think he is a bit of a freak. I think he's into some really weird shit. But, I mean, I don't think he's a predator. I don't think that he is engaging with children because he's into children. And as far as illegality goes, again, that is a majority of my argument here. He has not broken any laws by any fucking metric whatsoever. Now, in the past, I was a little bit about like, why should he respond if you're just going to drag him over his response? Because let's be honest, no matter what he says, he's going to be dragged, right? I think the situation is as I presented it here. You have not proven any guilt here. Now, if you want to argue morality, that's not guilt, dude. In terms of Ivory, I 100% feel the kid is dishonest. His attacks on Pyrocynical are directly related to clout. 100%. Now, Turkey Tom has not made this statement. He has said that he does not feel he can say that Pyrocynical is not a groomer. That is what he has said. Now, a lot of people argue that I'm arguing that he has said that he is 100%. No. But there are many people that are arguing that. So let me just be as clear as I can. Ivory himself engaged in these erotic role plays, right? Ivory himself chose to do this with other individuals. Ivory himself was doing it before Pyrocynical. Ivory himself sought the relationship with Pyrocynical. People are going to say that's victim blaming. I don't see Ivory as being a victim here. I do think he was dishonest about his age only because we're talking about 1 month before he turns 16 where it's legal age of consent. And he wanted the relationship with Pyrocynical. Now, you can say that's me attacking the victim, yada, yada. I honestly don't care, right? That is my stance on this. I don't see Ivory as being a victim. I don't see him as being someone that was groomed. I don't think that you can groom somebody who is seeking that. He was doing it with other people. And again, in terms of like clout chasing and all this other shit, yeah, if you really feel that way, and this is Turkey Tom, any other commentator, you should be pushing for Ivory to expose the other adults he was doing this stuff with, especially if you're saying he was open about his age. And you feel, because you should, that he was erotically role-playing with adults who were fully aware that he was like, 14 to 15 at this point. Anyways, that's my stance on this. Again, I've given all of this over to Turkey Tom on Twitter. I did respond to him after he tagged me. I was streaming at the time, but I gave a pretty long-winded response here. So I've asked him if he wants to handle this publicly or privately. Personally, if he has evidence that Ivory had 100% informed Pyrocynical that his age was 15, right? If he has evidence that Pyrocynical was informed by somebody else, until then, you're going off of a lot of assumptions, okay? You really are, in terms of the Ida situation. Because I don't think that someone who has no issues with a 15-year-old having sexually charged conversations with her friend is someone that you can trust to actually do the right thing, which is how I think a lot of people are seeing it. Why wouldn't she inform him? Well, yeah, we would fucking inform our friend. She clearly doesn't give a shit. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Now, there was a document that was put together trying to debunk a lot of stuff. Let me be very clear. I do believe that Pyrocynical, at the age of 19 to 20, was willfully engaging with a 16-year-old in a sexually charged manner. But that's age of consent. Now, in terms of him clearing out his Discord messages and all this other stuff, Turkey Tom's video at the end alludes to him going a Discord message from Pyrocynical talking about how he's worried about being exposed by other people. I mean, it's the nature of his role play, right? Like fucking fat furry dragonkin porn with vor in it. Like it's disgusting. Yeah, I mean, it fucking is. I'll clown out that guy until the end of the fucking until the end of time, right? But I don't think he's a predator. I don't feel like he is willfully engaging with people under the age of consent. I don't feel like he is a groomer under any metric. And if the goal here was to prove that he has bad morals, I mean, yeah, he's a member of the commentary community. Come on, guys.
Melvo lit that shit and bang.